it's still in shock. Like, you're going to look back on Friday, March 7th as a polarizing day in the history of the Boston Bruins. The entire day and all the moves, including the Marchand trade, was needed, in my opinion.
Sure.
And it's still, rightfully so, for any Bruins fans out there. You hate it. You have every right to hate it. Because you see Brad Marchand now going to a huge rival. You see a captain, homegrown talent, a guy that rose from a third-round pick in 2006 to going top 5 in games played, points, and goals in franchise history. He's your all-time playoff goals leader.
Right.
First in overtime goals in franchise history as well. Played 16 hard years, literally encapsulating and embracing what this city is all about. Yep. And a guy that embraced the city and the community. A guy that in Charlestown, you go into a coffee shop at 8 a.m., you're going to see him there. Walking through some of the parks, you'll see him playing wiffle ball with his kids. The ice rink in Charlestown, you'll see him waiting just like all the other parents to pick up his kids and embracing that city. This is a guy that was drafted in 2006 in a third rounder, and over the course of 16 years, not just rising to become a captain, but everything that what it means to be a Boston Bruin, Brad Marchand was that. He was a rat, but he was Boston's rat. He was a leader, and he was the Bruins' leader. He won a cup. He helped lead the Bruins to 2 more appearances as well. But to trade him to the Panthers, Don Sweeney and the Bruins did what they had to do. This entire trade deadline was needed. They hit the hardest reset possible.
Yeah, they did.
Where they gave up, I looked at the ages real quick. Thank gosh, I have it right here. They gave up 36-year-old Brad Marchand, 32-year-old Charlie Coyle, 28-year-old Brandon Carlo, 27-year-old Justin Brazeau, and 26-year-old Trent Frederick. And Mark McLaughlin in there was younger prospect. The guys they brought in, no one's older than 25. But with Brad Marchand, this is a guy that's played 16 years, and the way he's played, being undersized but being an absolute mother effer between the boards, has taken a toll on his body. And this is a guy we've seen in the past 3 off seasons go through hip surgery, and this last off season, elbow, groin, abdominal. And this is all tied to a draft pick that is conditional. If he plays a certain amount, it goes from a second to a first. If Brad Marchand's going to play, he's going to play. That will become a first. There's a complete question mark if he could even play in the playoffs. Like, he's not going to be ready until the postseason begins. So take away and be objective in this in some way of, yes, he's the captain. Yes, he's an all-time Bruin. Yes, he's a legend. Yes, he's someone you saw from the day you first became a Bruins fan to today, play this many games, score these many goals, and win a cup. And in that really long drought, right? But end of the day, he was a 37-year-old winger who gave everything to this franchise and had nothing left to give. And by all the reports coming out, sounded like he wasn't going to stay when it came to being a free agent this offseason. The Bruins did what they have to do. Right now, they have 4 first-round picks, which could become 5 in the next 3 drafts. And if it stays as a second, they have 4 second-round picks. Best case, he plays, he returns in free agency, and you get a first-round pick. Worst case, he doesn't play, he walks, you get a second-round pick. The team needed to hit reset. They got younger, they got faster, they got more skilled, they got better up the middle. Everything they had to do, even if it's some prospects. Trading away Brad Marchand hurts. Brad Marchand fighting to get to Florida, he did what's best for him. And the Bruins did right by Brad to send him to a contender and keep him on the East Coast, which by all reports sounded was important to him, which makes sense for his family. It sucks it's the Panthers. It sucks he's going to take the ice next to Sam Bennett, who almost knocked him out of the playoffs last year for sucker punching him.
Yep.
Well, pretty much did.
He did sucker punch.
Yeah. No. He sucker punched him and concussed him.
Yep.
Kachuk, Sam Bennett, Brad Marchand on the same line. That's a rat line in the best way possible. And everyone in Florida is going to love that. And they're going to shower the rat with their rubber rats, which they've been doing since the inception of that team pretty much. This sucks. It sucks. It absolutely, one more time, sucks, guys. And I understand. Because as I talk through it more, it hurts.
Yeah.
You know what sucks too? Is this team is bottoming out. And this franchise is bottoming out. After a 10-year run of making the postseason. After a run of appearing in the Stanley Cup Finals in 13 and 19, right? And winning 1 in 11. This long-tenured connection to Bergeron, Chara, Krejci, and Marchand. There's no one left from that. And maybe he could still return. But Don Sweeney did what is best for the Bruins, did what's best for Brad Marchand at this point in his career, and they did right by the legend as well. Those things don't have to be mutually exclusive. Making really difficult decisions is part of running a franchise, and making really difficult decisions is needed to get this franchise back on track. We're going to dive in. We're going to go through all the deals that go through it. It hurts so much to see Brad Marchand go to the Panthers, a team that ended your season the last 2 years, and not just ended the season, but you go back 2 years and took the most historic, the greatest regular season of all time, and just crumpled it up like it was a piece of paper and threw it to the side in the first round. That hurts. I understand it. But what would Brad Marchand been the rest of this season? Off-ice leadership? I don't know how valuable that is. And what the Bruins are going to do now, because the eyes have to turn to David Pastrnak, Pavel Zacha, Elias Lindholm, Charlie McAvoy, when they get back on the ice, Nikita Zadorov, a guy that's going to be there, Jeremy Swayman, who they just extended. Those have to be the leaders. Who's going to wear the C? Charlie McAvoy, David Pastrnak. They have to show that they can do that. This was so tough to comprehend when it went down. And I hate the NHL for how long it took the details to come out.
That's the worst.
Everything went down at 3 o'clock. We didn't know anything until 6 p.m.
Right.
Insane. Dye your I's, cross your T's, get all your punctuation right. This hurt, but it was needed. And I don't expect Bruins fans to ever get over it either. I understand why it hurts. This is part of being a fan. You're going to go through the lows, and it's going to crush you. You're going to go through the highs, and it's going to be like unlike anything you ever experience. And Brad Marchand, for a guy that grew up in Jersey and is a fan of the Rangers, I hated him. And then I got to Boston, and you realized how much this city rallies around him and how he embodies everything about being in Boston. Because everyone knows about the city, how hardworking it is. And there's no city like it, especially with the knowledge and the passion for the sports here. It sucks, but it was the right move. And it sounds so weird to put those two things in the same sentence, but that's where I keep going around. Because as you said, T, and when I just ran through it, it goes, end of the day, he gave you 16 great years, a Stanley Cup championship, 2 more appearances, all these all-time rankings. Again, being top 5 in games played, points, goals, first in playoff goals, first in overtime goals, first in shorthanded goals, a legend on the penalty kill, an amazing two-way player. And outside of Alexander Ovechkin, since Ovi and Marchand entered the league, he is the second best right winger, statistically, right behind Alexander Ovechkin, who's chasing the all-time goals record right now. He did everything you want in a superstar, and Don Sweeney did everything he had to do to get this franchise back to where it needs to be.